Finally, that took quite a bit of time to get up and running. Finally, that took quite a bit of time to get up and running. Seem to have an echo issue here. Where is this echo coming from? Where is this echo coming? All right. I think I isolated it. Okay. Hopefully, I'll get used to this software pretty soon, and streams will be a little bit more. Oh, there's echo again here. Let me see if I can mute it. Can you guys hear an echo? What is causing this echo? What is the deal here?
Showed how bad they are, and there's never been spirit like we had. There's never been any race that we've ever had in the history of this country that's had this kind of spirit. So I just want to thank everybody. be the four greatest. And I'm asking you to, it's very hard for you to do this, to be honest with you, because you look at what's happened to our country and how the hell can you do this? But I'm asking you anyway to be excited about the future of our
I hope we got these issues
Just
taken.
be excited. We're going to turn it around.
I hope we got these issues taken.
And I'm asking you, dream big. The American dream, just dream big. We're bringing it back. This will be America's new golden age. It's going to be the golden age. Look at this place. I mean, what the hell? How do you beat it? How do you beat it, huh?
Hello, Wisconsin! Let's hear it for Adrian! Cardi B! Oh, it's good to be back. Good evening. Milwaukee, are we ready to do this? Are we ready to win? Are we ready to vote? And we will win. Oh, it's good to be back in Wisconsin and to be with so many leaders. I thank everyone here for taking the time out of your busy lives to be here this evening. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. And can we please hear for Tammy Baldwin? Let's re-elect her to the United States Senate. County Executive Crowley, Mayor Johnson, Cardi B. Let's give it up. And can we hear it again for MC Light, Flo Millie, Glorilla, Keegan Michael Key? Oh, what a good night. All right, we got work to do in Milwaukee. Okay, 4 days left. 4 days left in the most consequential election of our lifetime, and we still have work to do. But here's the thing about all of us, we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is joyful work. And make no mistake, we will win. We will win. And here's one of the reasons why. Because when you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. And in this election, we have an opportunity to finally turn the page on a decade of Donald Trump trying to keep us divided and afraid of each other. We are done with it. We are exhausted with it. We are turning the page. And it's because we know that's what he's about. He is constantly about trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. But that's not who we are. That's who he is. That is not who we are.
Interesting, right off the bat, criticizing Trump.
And it is time for a new generation of leadership in America. And I am ready to offer that leadership as the next president of the United States.
All right, so you probably heard then as she's talking through all this stuff. Trump is the focus of the lion's share of her comments and her remarks. Whereas Trump, when he was speaking, he focused in on the people and the benefits that they were looking to reap.
How's Eric doing? I think very well. Oh, boy. He's a great guy. He's a great-looking guy, too. Sometimes I'd say maybe he'd be better off without that mustache. I'm not sure. He's such a handsome guy. I said, I don't know. But, I guess you better leave it because I hear you're leading, so we have to leave the mustache, right? And you're doing great, Eric. Boy, oh, boy, we love it. We love it. We love this whole place. We had a little event here, recently, that, right? That was the convention. We had the convention. I had a little patch on my ear, excuse me. Little patch. I said, I don't know. I was a little embarrassed walking out with a patch. But there's nothing you can do about some things, right? Every problem facing us can be solved, but now the fate of our nation is in your hands. It really is. We win this state, we win the whole thing. You know that? On Tuesday, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala that you've had enough, that you can't take it anymore. She's been the worst vice president in the history of our country. And you remember, just 5 months ago, everybody was saying she can't run, she's grossly incompetent. She was the worst vice president in history. We're not going to take it anymore, Kamala. You're fired. Get the hell out of here. So today was the last day for in-person early voting for most of Wisconsin. There's a little tiny section, but I'm not going to get into the detail. But you still have until Sunday to vote early here in Milwaukee, as well as in Madison and Green Bay and Racine. We love Racine. We just left Green Bay. We had a great event. Was anybody at the one in Green Bay? That was a good one. How's your football team? You know what I liked? I love Brett Favre.
All right, is this gonna come through now?
And we got a call from Brett. And you have to, he's a great guy, and boy, what a player. And I shook his hand. I said, man, that's the biggest hand I've ever seen. His fingers were like sausages. That's why he could throw a ball 80 yards, right? No, he was great, but he never did it before. It's such an honor because he never did it before. Thank you very much. No, Brett never did that before. As an athlete, it's hard to do a little bit. You can't do it. You lose some fans, maybe. Who knows? Crazy people that say, oh, I don't like him because he likes somebody. But
let's see. I'm not getting the echo anymore. Hopefully you guys aren't either.
An unbelievable day. And to get his endorsement, and he wanted to do it right here. He wanted to do it right in Wisconsin, any place he said in Wisconsin. And he gave me a full endorsement, and that was a great honor, right? That was a great honor. Great guy. He could really rip that ball. So thank you very much to Brett. So get everyone you know, you have to do it. You have to vote, vote, vote. We're going to win this thing, and we're going to win it big, and I'd love to win it right.
Yeah, I think I just heard the echo come through again.
And if you haven't voted early, just come on Tuesday. We don't care at this point. We don't care when you vote. Just make sure you vote. And if you see anybody cheating, then what you do, you know what you do? Report them immediately. No, we're doing great. We're leading just about, I think, all 7 swing states we're leading. But don't listen to me now. Don't listen. Just pretend we're 1 down, right? We're 1 point down, please. We don't want to say, oh, we don't have to vote today, Alice, because he's leading. No, don't do that. We've seen that stuff happen. We don't want to do that. Oh, the mic. Yeah, I think the mic stinks. I think it stinks. Crazy. Crazy.
And Wisconsin, you know me. I'm not afraid of tough fights, obviously. For decades as a prosecutor and the top law enforcement officer of the biggest state, I won fights. I won fights against the big banks who were ripping off homeowners. I won fights against for-profit colleges that were scamming veterans and students. I won fights against predators who abused women and children. I won fights against cartels that trafficked in guns and drugs and human beings. And I pledge to you, if you give me the chance to fight on your behalf, there is nothing that will stand in my way as I fight for you. And look, we know who Donald Trump is. This is not someone who is thinking about how to make your life better. This is someone who is increasingly unstable, obsessed with revenge. He is consumed with grievance, and the man is out for unchecked power. And look, in less than 90 days, it's either going to be him or me in the Oval Office. But let's get the word out. Let's get the word out to the folks who are not here to just have them imagine. You know, we've all seen the Oval Office on TV. Imagine on January 20th, that day, it's either going to be Donald Trump if he is elected, which he will not be, but to help people imagine what the stakes are, it's either going to be him there on day one, walking into that office, stewing over his enemies list, or when I am elected, walking in on your behalf with my to-do list. And I'm a hard worker. And at the top of my list is bringing down the cost of living for you. That will be my focus every single day as president.
This is an interesting proposition.
Tax cut to over 100 million Americans. I will enact the first ever federal ban on corporate price gouging on groceries. And I will fight to make sure that hardworking Americans can actually afford a place to live. If you are caring for an elderly parent, if you are in the sandwich generation, caring for an elderly parent and young children, I will tell you my plan will cover the cost of home care under Medicare. Because I took care of my mother when she was sick. And I know what you are doing. Whether it be trying to cook something that they feel like eating, whether it be trying to help them put on a sweater, trying to find a moment where you can bring a smile to their face or make them laugh. That work is about dignity. That work is about dignity. And I'm going to make sure you have the support and they have the support they deserve. My plan will lower the cost of childcare. Again, it's about dignity. It's about seeing the strains and the pressures. We will cut taxes for small businesses because our small businesses are the backbone of America's economy. Where are our small business owners? Let me see our small business owners. care costs, because here's where I come from on that. Look, I believe access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. Dignity, values about the dignity of each of us, and the responsibility of real leaders to, unlike my opponent, not think that the measure of their strength is based on who you beat down, but the true measure of strength of a leader based on who you lift up. And then you got Donald Trump, who, and his answer to the financial pressures you face is the same as it was the last time: another $1 trillion in tax cuts for billionaires and the biggest corporations. And this time he will pay for it with a 20% national sales tax on everything you buy that is imported: clothes, foods, toys, cell phones. A Trump sales tax that would cost the average American family, the economists have measured it, more than $4,000 more a year. And on top of that, Donald Trump is still trying and still wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which would throw millions of Americans off their health insurance and take us back to when insurance companies could deny people with pre-existing conditions. You remember what that was like? Well, we are not going back. We are not. We're not going back. No. Because just like Wisconsin's motto tells us, we will move forward. I love Wisconsin. And it is a fight for freedom. Like the fundamental body, and not have her government telling her what to do. And we all remember how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention, and now in America, 1 in 3 women lives in a state with a Trump abortion ban. Many, and the harm we've seen. Many of those laws with no exception even for rape or incest, which is immoral. And he's not done. He would ban abortion nationwide. Yes, even here in Wisconsin. Even here in Wisconsin, it would be impacted. And he would restrict access to birth control, put IVF treatments at risk, and force, get this, 2025. Just look at it. And everyone here I know understands, and let us agree, one does not have to abandon their faith. Government shouldn't be telling her what to do. Not the government. Not the government. Not the government. Not some people up in a state legislature, and certainly not Donald Trump. Together with Tammy's help, when Congress passes a bill to restore I am asking for your vote. I am asking for your vote. As president, I pledge to seek common ground and common sense solutions to the challenges you face. I am looking to make progress. And I pledge to listen to those who will be impacted by the decisions I make. I pledge to listen to experts, to listen to people who disagree with me. Because you see, I don't believe that people who disagree with me are the enemy. He wants to put them in jail. I'll give them a seat at the table. That's what real leadership is about. That's what strong leadership is about. And I pledge to always put country above party and self, and to be a president for all Americans. So that is my pledge to you, Wisconsin. And now I ask you a question. Who here has already voted? Oh, wow. Okay. To your friends and your family and your neighbors. Let me just be clear. And for those who have not yet voted, please think about right now your plan for voting, and think about where and when you will vote. And if you live here in Milwaukee, remember you
Checking
can vote
if
early
I resolved the
Sunday,
echo.
November 3rd. And go to iwillvote.com for all the information you need, including when and where you can vote and where to drop off your absentee ballot, because we need everyone in Wisconsin to vote. You will make the difference. You will make the difference. So listen.
Was the
it
issue
all comes
resolved?
down to this. We are here together because we love our country. We love our country. We love our country. And when you love something, you fight for it. You fight for it. And I do believe it is one of the highest forms of patriotism, of our expression for our love of our country, to then fight for the ideals of our country and to fight to realize the promise of America. That's what this is about. And I have always believed in our nation's promise because I've lived it. You know, I grew up a child of the civil rights movement. My parents would take me to marches when I was in a stroller. And there were, at those marches, we all know, people from every walk of life coming together to fight for freedom and to fight for opportunity. You know, raised her two daughters to have the same chances that our country gave her. And I was blessed to have family by blood and family by love, right? Who instilled in me a sense of community and compassion and faith. And I've spent my life fighting for people who have been hurt and counted out.
Oh, that's what I was wondering what the hell they were shouting. I think this mic stinks, by the way. And then we don't pay the contractor. I say, don't pay the contractor. Then they write a story. Trump doesn't pay his bills. He's a bad guy. No, the mic is terrible. I had another one today. You know what? I've done 3 of these today. Somebody said, maybe we could just skip the last one. I said, there's no way I'm skipping. There's no way. And this is the best one of all. Look at this place. Thank you.
Interesting breakdown rallies that happened in Milwaukee today. I'm still having some issues with echoes and with the here. Don't know what's going on with that. I'm just waiting to see if the echo comes through. Sometimes there's like a 10-second, 20-second delay. So bear with me. This is like my test stream here. I'm going to try and add some noise suppression here. All right, let's see if that takes care of some of the static.
The ladies from North Carolina, 259 of these they've come to. Look at them. They're beautiful. I don't know where the hell their husbands are. They're married. All of them are married. But they're great, and thank you very much. We're rounding the turn. Front row Joe's over.
All right, just going to test out my electoral map. All right, see that's up. See if it edits on. All right, just going to test out my electoral map. Okay, it's a little bit too wide. See if it edits on. Okay, it's a little bit too wide. Okay, I heard an echo. I wonder if it's just my audio test. Waiting to see if it repeats now. Nope, no repeat. All right, I think I might have finally figured it out. What a pain. Anyway, good though to sort this out before the next couple days if I'm going to start streaming a little bit more of the electoral map here. So this, I don't know why. A lot of commentators are saying there's no way these right here are going to go for Trump, but honestly, all three of those go, and I mean it's a landslide at that point. Everything else they've already got called off red. I mean, you don't have to worry about Nevada, but I mean, look at this. He can still win and lose Pennsylvania. He could still win and lose Michigan. Right? He can lose all three. Let's see if he picks up Nevada. Oh, he's still short too. You'd have to get one more somewhere. Would Virginia ever go for him? That'll do the trick right there. But that's a little crazy. Oh, I can't make it undecided. It has to go one way or another once I click through on the map. But I mean, you could see there though, it's there's a lot of different possibilities that could come through for Trump. Let me see if he gets this other path. What if he doesn't get any of those three? What else could fall? There's no way Mexico. Okay, that might be it then. He has to get one of those three. Pennsylvania seems like the likely choice to run through here. Even if we lose, then Nevada, it's over at that point. Yeah, Nevada's just 6 electoral votes. Wow. That's a real interesting path to the victory. But North Carolina, what if that flips? 65, and then Nevada would be in play. Yeah, so if you have something on the West Coast that's going to be, well, I mean, towards the West, that's going to be in, pretty critical for the win. So he doesn't get North Carolina, but he got Pennsylvania. Then we might be waiting for a while until all the polls close and all the counting's completed in Nevada to understand what that looks like at the end of the day. Oh, all right, let me get back to the side-by-side Trump and Harris. They're dueling rallies that happened in Milwaukee. I still think it's so odd. They're in the same place at the same time. Of course, Harris, how much time she got left on hers? Yeah, she's got another 13 minutes left on hers. And, the Trump clip says it's another hour and 20 minutes, and he's already been speaking for a bit. Let's run Harris's, see if it actually closes out here in the next 10 minutes or so.
But who never stopped believing in our country that anything is possible. I have lived the promise of America. And today, I see the promise of America in everyone who is here, in all of you, in all of us. We are the promise of America. We are the promise of America. It's the fathers and mothers and grandparents who work hard every day for their children's future, in the women who refuse to accept a future without reproductive freedom, and the men who support
them. I don't know. That's the phrasing there, reproductive freedom, I think is an interesting one, and I think it's deliberate to kind of take focus away from what people have or take exception to around that issue. And I'm being careful with my wording here, but terming it as freedom and reproduction being the actual opposite of what's going on with the issue at hand. And then associating freedom with it too. I mean, that's like a PR genius that came up with that. It kind of turns the conversation around on folks when they speak about it in that type of language, and then praise for the men that stand behind it. Also, putting some guilt on people around it. When they came through Houston, that was the only subject that they discussed. Nothing else was talked about. Literally the only thing the entire time, it was centered around, as they term it, reproductive freedom. Well, I think that's pretty telling. It seems like that's the only issue that they feel they have to run on at this point. Everything else is pretty much a failure. Economy, what's happening internationally, the conflicts that are going on around the world. They don't really have a leg to stand on with a lot of these different things. And so when it comes to this particular issue, that's all they've got. So they literally spent hours, every speaker that was coming out there, either being critical of Trump or only speaking about that one issue. Let's see, does she have anything else to offer here?
It's in the Republicans who never voted for a Democrat before, but put the Constitution of the United States above party. I see the promise of America in all the young leaders that I see right now who are voting for the very first time. Raise your hand. I love Gen Z.
I mean, I'm just cringing. I love Gen Z. Look at that. Unreal.
I really do. Here's what I love about you guys.
Oh, here we go.
You are rightly impatient for change. I love that about you.
You know, it really gets me when you hear the exact same lines, the exact same speech every day for weeks on end. And if it wasn't something that's been repeated 3 times in the past few days, it's something that she was repeating months and months in the past. And I think you'll find that with a lot of her clips, that she's saying the same thing, but the backdrop or the background is different, and it's just because that's the approach that she's taken, is these stock speeches with very specific talking points. In fact, that was what was done for the debate, which served her well, actually, to just have point, counterpoint, memorize it, rehearse it for 5 days in a row. But that didn't help out with the 60 Minutes interview, which for that one she had 2 days to prep, go over everything, try to get everything down. But anyway, let's keep going with her. How much time has she got left?
I love that about
About 10
you.
minutes on her side now.
You are determined to live free from gun violence. You are going to take on the climate crisis. You are going to shape the world you inherit. I know that. I know that. And here's the thing about our young...
There's a lot of flattery that goes on with the liberal side, and a lot of self-flattery, right? Encouraging you to, like, I will shape the world. Yes, that's me. And then that becomes part of your mindset, becomes, I don't know, part of how you define yourself. But it's not just shaping the world. It's a lot of issues, whether it's the DEI type topics, right? I will fight for social justice. It's, an imperative. Let's keep going.
Leaders, none of this is theoretical for them. None of this is political for them. It's their lived experience. It's your lived experience. And I see your power. I see your power, and I am so proud of you. Can we please hear it for our first-time voters? Can we please? And those who will be first-time voters. The future of our country is so bright. We just have to see it. It's so bright. So listen, we got 4 days to get this thing done. 4 days. No one can sit on the sidelines. So let's spend the next 4 days so that when we look back on these days, we have no regrets about what we could have done. Let's know we did everything we could do. So let's knock on doors, let's text, let's call, let's reach out to family and friends and classmates and neighbors and coworkers. And here's a request that I have in that process. And while we are doing all of that, let's please be intentional about building community. Let's please be intentional about building community. There's something about this whole Trump era, and it's made people feel like they have to. It's been powered by this idea that Americans should be pointing their fingers at each other.
It's like she had a short circuit there for a second. And what did she say? Be intentional about creating community. That's a new one for me, at least. Kind of a new one.
You know, and to make people feel alone and make people feel small. When we all know that we all have so much more in common than what separates us. So let's be intentional about building community and building coalitions. There is strength and power in that will be long lasting. And finally, I'll say, just remember and let's remind everybody we know, your vote is your voice and your voice is your power. That's your power.
It's almost like she.
A democracy, that is a power that is yours. Don't let anyone take it from you.
I don't even know where she's going with this. Your voice is your power, and your power is your. I don't know. I'm getting tongue tied here.
Don't let anyone take it from you. So Wisconsin, today I ask you, are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Wow, that's it. So timestamp is. Let's see. Ooh. Holy cow. So let's see. When did she get on stage? She ended at 2 hours, 3 minutes. Oh, that's about right. Okay. So yeah, just over 20 minutes on her side. And that's what you got.
Over here, look at him, and we have Mr. Wall over here. You know, it is sort of sad. Is that mic now better back there? Oh, that pisses me off. They don't get it. Well, the mic at Madison Square Garden worked very well. Was that a great event? But honestly, it was basically the same crowd as you have here, right? Same thing. Your NBA arena, your team is very good. I would say the Greek is a seriously good player. Do you agree? And tell me, who has more Greek in him, the Greek or me? I think we have about the same, right? He's a great player, maybe the best player in the NBA, actually. He may be the best player. He's supposed to be a very good guy, too. But with your help, we're going to defeat Kamala Harris, and we're going to make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you. So in breaking news, the economy created a pitiful, you won't even believe this, the economy stinks. What timing? What timing? 4 days before the election, they have among the worst numbers ever in history. Nobody's ever heard. They did 12,000 jobs. Normally you're 250, 300,000, 400,000. They did 12. Think of it, 12,000 jobs. And it's hundreds of thousands of jobs less than it should be. Think. Because they're pathetic. They don't know anything. These people don't know anything. She's a very low IQ person. We don't need a low IQ individual. We just had that for 4 years. We don't need this. But those numbers are so low, they're almost disqualifying. The only thing good about the numbers I'm going to give you now are that it's great to run against the people that created those numbers because it's terrible. And just think, a few months ago, they fraudulently claimed, remember, 3 months ago, 818,000 jobs. It was a fraud. Everything they do is a fraud. And then they go after people that aren't frauds. They're a fraud. The whole operation stinks. But they created 818,000 fake jobs. And they thought they'd get away with it, and a whistleblower blew the whistle. And they blew the whistle. They thought they were going to announce. They call it a correction. That's a hell of a correction, by the way. That will be the world's biggest correction in history. What do you think, Ron Johnson? That's the biggest correction. You know, corrections are meant for like 700 jobs, not almost 1 million jobs. But now they've just revised the past jobs number, right? Last month, and they revised it downward by 112,000 fake jobs. So these guys are playing fast and loose. These are crooked people we're dealing with. The people we're running against are crooked as hell. So that's almost 1 million fake jobs. And I think it's something that Congress ought to look into, really. They ought to look into. Who the hell ever heard of these numbers? And they wanted to revise them after the election. Could you imagine if you lost the election and then 2 days later, we've revised the numbers downward, 1 million jobs? Nobody's ever heard of it, but we thank you, Mr. Whistleblower. You know, some whistleblowers are very good. Kamala's failed economic agenda wiped out nearly 30,000 private sector jobs and nearly 50,000 manufacturing jobs in just the last month. Do you believe this? Nobody's ever heard of these numbers. Even I mean, I know they're incompetent, but I thought they were sort of riding along a little bit on what we built. With almost 100,000 manufacturing jobs killed since the beginning of the year. 100, that's a lot. 150,000, these are all the numbers coming out of the so-called government. Great government we have.
Yeah, that was just the beginning of it, not the. She didn't keep going. I forgot that she called out, or not called out, gave a shout out to Cardi B. Just sounds so awkward. Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion. You go down the list of folks. Very awkward.
$150,000 Americans joined the unemployment rolls last month. This is like a depression. And there's nothing, I mean, no event. I think they're trying to blame it on the hurricane. No, that was, you know, a relatively small area. No, not the hurricane, not the hurricane. They're the hurricane. And nearly 250,000 people dropped out of the labor force, which is almost unheard of. No, these are the worst numbers anybody's ever heard of. The data shows that 100%, listen to this part, of all new jobs, net job gains in the past year have gone to illegal migrants. And the jobs were taken from African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and union workers. I don't think the unions are too happy about this. But I told you this was going to happen. It was inevitable. They're letting millions and millions of people flood into the country. And the African American population, if you see these numbers now, they're going to release them. But I think maybe, Ron, you should try and get them early because they're really bad. They have taken so many jobs away from African Americans.
If you're watching the electoral map with me here, it looks like, you know, with all the common states that are in there, Trump only has to win Michigan. Wisconsin won't do it by itself, but or Pennsylvania. So the big three here, only one of those states. I mean, if he loses Michigan and Pennsylvania, which probably is not likely, then he'd have to get Wisconsin and Nevada or North Carolina. North Carolina. Yeah, North Carolina by itself will put them over the top. Look at that. Yeah, look at that. So, holy cow. But I think this is going to be the outcome right here. I think you should get to 325. 325 and the margins will be smaller in other states. Oops, don't have the live center up here. Yeah, that's about right. Not going to take that much to get him there. So at this point, it seems like there may be multiple paths that'll bring 270 to Trump. So at this point, it seems like there may be multiple paths that'll bring 270 to Trump. What did I just do? I get my echo again. What did I just do? I get my echo again. Okay, hang on. Got to listen in. All right. I don't know what I just changed that caused the echo. All right. I don't know what I just changed that caused the echo. What's up with this echo? What's up with this echo? I don't even know where it's coming in from. All right, I turned it off the live studio. Is that working now? Let's see. Do I get an echo? Let me try to get on my phone here. All right, testing for an echo again. One more time. Multiple paths to victory for Trump. Very narrow. A lot of dominoes have to fall in place for Harris at this point. All right, I'm going to try and load up the live studio again for TikTok. Was that causing this echo? Okay, it's back online. Let's see. Was that causing this echo? Okay, it's back online. Let's see. All right, trying to see if I can pop the live chat out and move off of the live studio page if that'll cause an echo. Interesting outcome. I was just clicking through. It looks like you could lose multiple states and still come through on top. Like in this case, if he got North Carolina, or if he just gets Pennsylvania, it's done deal. Done deal. But let's get back to Trump.
Less from Hispanic, but that's going to catch up. But the African American job picture is unbelievable. And we had it going so good, but they've come in illegally and they've taken the jobs, and people that have had jobs for 20 years and good jobs, and they raised a family, they had a little house and everything nice, and they've now lost their job to illegal migrants that have poured in through the open border policy of that stupid person. Kamala's inflation nightmare has, think of this, has cost the typical American family $30,000. Think of that one. Higher prices because the inflation's just raised. And you know, it started when they played around with my energy. I had no inflation. We had the greatest energy we've ever had. I was going to have it 4 times higher by now. And we're going to do that, but we got a little bit of a delay because... And we were going to have it 4 times higher. We were going to take care of Asia. We were going to take care of Europe. We're going to make a fortune, start paying down debt. We have $35 trillion in debt. We're going to lower your taxes. I gave you the largest tax cut in the history of our country and the largest regulation cuts. And we were able to do more. Thank you. Thank you. And now she wants to impose the largest tax hike in American history on top of everything else and raise your taxes by more than $3,000 a year. Is everybody happy? I don't want to ruin your night, but don't worry, we're going to make it good. You got to suffer a little bit to get them out. Get those people out. They're grossly incompetent. I stand before you today as the only candidate who can rescue our economy from total obliteration and restore it to strength, prosperity, and actual greatness. We're going to restore you to greatness. As the just released numbers plainly indicate, the economy is now a disaster. And are you listening to this, press? They're the most dishonest human beings. Are you listening to this? These people, you know, whenever I look at them, they turn the cameras off. The red lights go off like, you see them all go, they don't want any part of it. No, that's a lot of press. That's a lot of cameras going so late at night. But no, we're gonna bring it back, and we're gonna bring it back fast. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna drill, baby, drill. We're gonna get the energy down. It's gonna come down. We're gonna drill, baby, drill. But I don't know if you know it, their economy is expected to get significantly worse. How does it get worse than that? It's really bad. Top Wall Street analysts, like Scott Bessent, who's one of the most brilliant guys on Wall Street, he said that the only reason the stock market is up is because everyone thinks Trump is going to win the presidency. That's pretty good. We had a great stock market. Can you imagine if Kamala won? You would go down to a 1929-style depression. I believe that, too. No, that'd crush your incomes and kill millions of jobs and wipe out your savings. We're not going to let that happen. You got to get out and vote. Just got to get out. I don't like to say, you know, it's when I win. No, I sort of say, should I say when or if? You know, I know, but it sounds a little braggadocio, right? All right, when I win, you are 4 days away from the best jobs, the biggest paychecks, and the brightest economic future the world has ever seen. Thank you. That's so nice. Thank you. Thank you. I will massively cut taxes for workers and small businesses, and we will have.
So here's a big difference, right? Kamala, of course, just spoke for about 20 minutes or so, talked about a lot of, I don't know, negative things, called Trump all sorts of names, and really was kind of bullying people into voting for their side to a degree, right? We have the moral high ground and so forth on a number of issues. And then you have Trump that, you know, talks, although he is using some language, right? Calling Kamala stupid and all that kind of stuff, but he's using data to kind of, you know, be very specific as to what's going on right now. I'm talking about the jobs data that just came out, cost of living and so forth. And he's talking about some of the sources of what's driving the rapid pace of increase in costs. And so, again, costs are not going to go down by any stretch. I mean, they may in pockets, right, here and there. But overall, when they say inflation's coming down, it's not that the prices are coming down. It's how quickly the prices go up. That part is slowed down. They're just not going up as quickly, right? 9% was about the peak, so they're not increasing at a 9% rate annually. They're increasing at a 2% rate. And so then that's where people, you know, we gotta see if he can put some policies in place and everything that would kind of flip that equation to rebalance things, right? Help assist with wage growth, and, you know, prices and everything don't keep up with that. That's the balance, or that's what needs to come back into balance is, can we get wage growth to match up with a lot of these things, and then we'll be in a better position at that point. But again, he's offering some specific outcomes that he wants to see, some solutions, and not just complaining the whole time, showing like a genuine interest for, you know, people's well-beings and making sure that their pocketbook's right.
No tax on tips.
There you go. Case in point.
No tax on overtime. And for our seniors, ready? No tax on Social Security benefits.
So that's pretty huge. No tax on Social Security benefits. I mean, it really doesn't get any bigger than that. Does not get any bigger than that. Because you think about it, how much, well, it varies how much you've paid into the system as to what your Social Security benefit is. But, you know, getting 10% of that back, 15% of that back on a month to month basis, that's pretty significant for folks, right? Let me see. What is the. Where's my AI? Where'd it go? Hang on a sec, guys. Just got to refresh the page here. Didn't use it for a while. It's all frozen here. All right, hang on.
Morning, a bit brighter. Hey, Masood, how can I make...
All right, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. What's on your mind today?
Okay, so what is the average Social Security benefit that seniors receive monthly?
Right now, seniors in the U.S. on Social Security get about $1,800 a month on average, though it really depends on what each person paid into the system over their working life.
What's the
What's your
maximum that somebody can get out of Social Security on a month-to-month basis?
The maximum Social Security benefit depends on retirement age. For 2023, it's around $3,600 monthly if you retire at full retirement age, and about $4,500 if you wait until age 70. Early retirement means a lower max benefit. Are you planning to maximize your future benefits?
No, I'm retiring early.
Fair enough. Have you got something more exciting on the horizon?
Well,
Like
how much is paid out in taxes on Social Security income for the average, and then for, say, the $3,600 amount?
Taxes on Social Security benefits depend on your combined income. For the average benefit, you might pay taxes if your combined income is above certain thresholds, starting at $25,000 for individuals. Up to 85% of benefits could be taxed for higher incomes. If you're getting the maximum benefit, your tax liability could be higher. Is retirement planning on your mind?
What income or what level of income or contribution do people need to make over the course of their life to qualify for the max benefit?
To qualify for the maximum Social Security benefit, you need to earn the maximum taxable earnings for at least 35 years. For 2023, that's $160,200. Your benefit is calculated based on your highest earning 35 years, so earning the max consistently throughout your career would help you reach the highest benefit. Is this info helpful for your planning?
That's interesting. So what's the tax rate on somebody that's making $36,000 a year? How much tax do they pay?
If you're making $36,000 a year, your combined income could result in some of your Social Security benefits being taxed. Typically, up to 50% of your benefits are taxable if your combined income is between $25,000 and $34,000, and up to 85% is taxable if your income is over $34,000. Do you want to run down on the combined income calculation?
Well, can you do the math for me? You still there?
All right, let's walk through a simplified example. Let's say your gross income is $36,000. The Social Security Administration counts half of your annual Social Security benefits plus your adjusted gross income and any tax-exempt interest to calculate your combined income. So, if your Social Security benefits amounted to $12,000 annually, half of that is $6,000. Added to your combined income would be $42,000. With a combined income over $34,000, 85% of your Social Security benefits would be taxable. In this case, that would be $10,200. The tax rate then depends on your total taxable income and filing status. Need more details on how to how to navigate this?
Okay, that was a little awkward. I don't know why the AI was laughing at me. It's really strange how it kind of comes back with it's trying just to have like more natural human inflection, but that was a little odd if you kind of caught that towards the end there. Um, I I don't know who programmed it to do that, but I've had times where it tries to like tease you as well. It's really bizarre. I don't understand it, but let's see. So 12,000. That 12,000 should be probably at that 12% rate. So I don't know, $1,000 a year back, $2,000 a year back potentially. I don't know. Is there a Social Security benefit calculator somewhere? I'm just curious now. Online benefits calculator. Oh, there is. Wow. Get a benefits estimate. Oh, you got to create an account. And the service is down. Okay. Well, what do you know? What do you expect? That's okay. All right. Let me check the TikTok portion of the stream, see if it's still holding up. All right, it says it is. Okay. All right, let's get back to what Trump's talking about because I mean, the things that he's mentioning, tips, overtime, um, people on Social Security. And Social Security one, I think, is a kind of a moral issue, right? Like, just the benefits are not that high to begin with. I mean, why take from it more? And then tips and overtime. I mean, it's encouraging people to continue to work, right? Encouraging people to create value. So, I mean, it's probably not the only idea that's out there, but there's probably more that can come into play. It's just the mindset of it is better than I'm just going to keep throwing money at you that I've just printed.
And I am going to, this was given to me by a friend of mine. Actually, this was given to me by a great political reporter. A she said, "Sir, why don't you support and give a tax credit for family caregivers who take care of a parent or a loved one?" I said, "That's a good idea." So we're going to do that. Do you know, if you didn't have those people, you would not have enough hospitals in this country to take care of anything. You'd need to double your hospitals, and those are the greatest people on earth, and they do it with love. And we're going to get them a tax credit. Is that okay? It's about time. To rapidly reduce inflation, I will end Kamala's war on American energy. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to frack, frack, frack. You know, she goes and she says, "Oh, no, I've always wanted to frack." This woman, she's the worst liar. Look, I had to go and beat crooked Hillary Clinton. She's crooked as a $4 bill. You know, I've never held a microphone up so long in my damn life. It's like I'm weightlifting. Sucker's heavy. But she's crooked as hell, right? Crooked Hillary, but she was less like, she didn't lie this way. This woman, Trump is going to do, he's going to terminate your Social Security in his first week in office. No.
Yeah, it's a little crazy, right? I mean, he's talking specifically, I'm going to cut or end no taxes on Social Security and some of these other benefits. And yet they continue with this concept of he wants to abolish Social Security or like get rid of it. And what purpose does that serve? I mean, if you start thinking about it practically, why would you even want to entertain that idea? I mean, the millions and millions of seniors that are out there that count on it, what happens then, right? It doesn't make any sense. So that's what you probably, in the 20 minutes or so that Kamala was speaking, it's that type of language, that type of fear, the type of thinking that's like you have to vote against somebody because I don't have anything I can articulate that gives you a compelling reason to vote for me. And again, the only reason that they think that they have got is reproductive freedom, as they term it. It's the only thing that they're running off of at this point. All right, let's keep listening in.
No, no, I'm the one that's going to keep it going. No increases in age. He's going to ruin Medicare. He's going to do that. I see her today. She's at a news conference. First of all, she's exhausted. She looks like. No, she's exhausted, right? Man. And you know what? I've gone 62 days, no days off. I've done so many. I've done so many. Thank you very much. No, I've gone 62 days. Today is an example. Yesterday I started off in New Mexico. You know why? It's not really a swing state, but it's a state that likes me a lot. It's got a thing called a border, and it's an open civ. And people...
You know, that's interesting too, right? New Mexico, he's talking about it in this election where it's so tight and everybody's just focused, the candidates are focused on the swing states, and he goes and, you know, does meet and greets in New Mexico and stuff, right? Still. It's a stark difference. Again, what he's talking about, how he communicates with the crowd. You hear Kamala repeat the same lines over and over and over again. And it's not that you're talking about your positions over and over again, because sometimes you have to articulate it in the same way so that you're being clear and consistent. It's a little bit beyond that. It's the same speech that's just delivered in the exact same way. She had that moment a few weeks back where on multiple campaign stops, she said, "Never again will we have somebody that," and then fill in the blank with, the insults towards Trump. So, I mean, it's something that has been pretty consistent on Trump's side, that he's able to connect with people. I mean, it seems a little more personable here, right? He's connecting with people. He's talking to them directly. He's telling jokes. He's comfortable. You know, he pulled the microphone off the stand because it wasn't working right. So I think over time, and you couple that with events recently, working at McDonald's, working in the trash truck, right? Being a garbage man for a little while. Those things, I think people are finding endearing, even though he's kind of a SOB, but it's still that he's connecting with people on a more real level than she even has an opportunity to. Not just an opportunity, but the capability to even do.
People are pouring in by the thousands and thousands and doing a lot of destruction and doing a lot of crime. And I went there, we had a massive crowd. You couldn't even see the end of it. It was like early in the day on a regular weekday. And today I was in Michigan. We were all over the place. We were in Michigan, but I said, and Michigan's very important. You know, we're leading in Michigan. You know why? I'm going to bring back the car business, a little thing like that. You know, I told them today, a year ago I heard through a friend of mine who builds plants. He's a great plant builder, the best and the biggest in the world. He's building this massive plant, and I wanted to see it. I said, I want to see the plant you're building. He goes, well, it's not in the U.S. I said, then I don't want to see it. I'm not interested. I have no interest. Where is it? It's in Mexico. Who owns it? China. They're building this massive, they didn't start it. They're building this massive plant right on the border so they can make cars, sell them into the United States, and destroy the rest of Detroit. Take all the business away from Michigan, and in all fairness, Tennessee and South Carolina and lots of other places. And you to a lesser extent, but you too. But they're going to build this big plant. And I didn't like it. I said, that's killer. You know, they're trying to solve the Detroit situation, and we want to bring back company. And we're going to bring them back because you know why? The most beautiful word in the entire dictionary, you know what it is? It's tariff. The tariff. You're going to become so rich with the word tariff. You're going to become rich as hell. You're not going to know what to do with the money. I'm telling you, you're going to become
Not going to know what to do
rich
with the money.
Tariff. And so I told them, and I was at the Detroit Economic Club. It was beautiful, and I was giving a talk, and I saw the guy that told me that they're going to start building a big plant in Mexico right on the border. And he was in the audience. John, his name is. He's, I think, the biggest in the world at this stuff. It's very good. He told me if you asked me to build an apartment, I couldn't build it, or a road, they couldn't lay the asphalt. But a plant, he has no problem with computers all over the place and robots. Lots of robots, by the way. So I said, well, how's that going? I was making a speech, and I said, I'm right about there where that very beautiful girl is. I'm not allowed to say that. See the beautiful blonde girl right there? I said, now, you know that's the end of your political career when you do that. You're not allowed to call anybody beautiful anymore. If you do, it's the end of your political career. Ron Johnson would never do that. That's why he's a great politician. No, right where that young lady is, John is sitting there. And I called him, I said, could you come back? And he comes backstage. Thank you very much. Fix the mic. You gotta be kidding. Do you want to see me knock the hell out of people backstage? You want to see me? I don't mind if they want to come up a little forward or something, but it's a pretty stupid situation, but that's okay. I get so angry. I'm up here seething. I'm seething. I'm working my ass off with this stupid mic. I'm blowing out my left arm. Now I'm going to blow out my right arm, and I'm blowing out my damn throat, too, because these stupid people. I'll make you a deal. Pretend you're listening to it perfectly, and I'll come back and do another one, okay? With a decent... It's so stupid. And you know, the only thing I ask for, I don't care about lighting. I don't care about teleprompters because I never read the damn things anyway. By the way, isn't it nice to have a president that doesn't need a frickin' teleprompter?
Yeah, two of them, right? Biden and Harris now.
But I don't ask for much. I don't ask for much. The only thing I ask for is a good mic. And this is the second time today that this happened. So now if I were the president, and you know, like a dopey guy like this Kelly, the guy's a total moron, and that happened, I'd fire him, and everybody would say, gee, I'm such a bad person. You're not bad. You fire people. When, for instance, the generals that destroyed us in Afghanistan, every one of them should have been fired. Should have been fired. Hello? Hello? I don't think so. Hello? Is that better? Is that better? That's terrible. Is that better back there? Was that yes or no? What crap. The only thing I ask for is a mic. You don't have to give me, I don't even need a stage. I don't give a damn. Give me a good mic. And I went through 2 of these today. And it knocks the hell out of your throat. But so far I'm doing okay, right? Okay. Is that better? Yeah. And did you notice I came in today, I said, and you know, this is after 4 of these things. I mean, in all fairness, I mean, I'm a human being, right? I come in, and here's the problem. I said, oh man, it's too low. I said, it's too low. way too low. Way too low. So I walk in, I said, shit, there's nothing worse than I walk in like this, and did you notice? I was bending over like this, hello. And then everybody says, is there something wrong with his back? What the hell is wrong with that guy? They're saying, he's cognitively impaired and physically impaired. There's something wrong with them all because I have guys that are stupid back there. All right, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, right? What a shame.
An opportunity
to
increase your
free
subscription.
performance back in that corner. You got a bad area back there. But I think this is better. I think it's probably better. But what we're doing is we're going to cut your price of energy in half in 12 months. Because we have more liquid gold under our feet than Russia, than Saudi Arabia, than anybody. Oh, that sounds much better. Does that sound better? Oh, that's good. Now I don't have to come back. But we're going to cut it because we have all this beautiful liquid gold, and we're going to cut it, and it's going to drive everything down. It's going to be, you're going to get, okay, ready? January 20th. First of all, you're going to vote. November 5th, you're going on Tuesday. That's number one, because we got to get that. I don't like talking about, like people are coming up to me, my staff over here, who are great. Sir, I'd like to recommend some people. I said, I don't want to talk about any people. First, I want to win, right? We don't want to talk about people. Don't tell me about people. Everybody wants a job. Remember, there was a moment where they were saying, oh, nobody wants to work for Trump. He's too difficult. He said, let me tell you a little secret.
So if you're watching the map here, as I'm clicking through, if he wins North Carolina, I mean, at that point, he just needs one of these three states, of Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin. He just needs one of them. Nevada's not good enough, yeah. But he just needs one of these states then. Yeah, pretty much Harris would have to win all three. She would have to sweep all three of those states.
They die to work for us. You know why? Because they all want to be this glamour deal. They want to be in this beautiful administration. They want to be secretaries. No, they say, sir, nobody wants to work for you. Nobody wants to be Secretary of State and be known famous for the rest of your life. Nobody wants to be Secretary of the Treasury. Nobody. These people are nuts. It's these people right there. They don't want to work for Trump. They don't want it because he's difficult. You know why I'm difficult? Because I want perfection for our country. That's the only reason I'm difficult. So I will terminate the Green New scam, one of the great scams in history. Remember? Remember, our country was going to be dead in 12 years. Remember that? Well, we came up at the 12. What happened? Where are we? Let me tell you, they have global warming, right? They said global warming. They used to call it, but now they call it climate change. You know why? Because climate change covers cold, if it's too cold, if it's too climate change. We're suffering climate change. If it's cold, that's good. If it's hot as hell, that's good. It used to be global warming, and that wasn't working because we're actually cooling. So we have that. But you know, the biggest warming problem we have is nuclear warming. So they talk all the time about the ocean will rise in 500 years, 1/8 of an inch. Who the hell cares, okay? But we have maniacs that have nuclear weapons, and we can't let that happen. And you need a smart president. As an example, Russia would have never gone into Ukraine if I were president. Zero chance with Putin. Zero. And everything Biden said, I said he's saying the exact opposite of what he should be saying. Israel would have never happened. That attack, October 7th, would have never happened. What a shame, right?
Yeah.
Shame. You know what else wouldn't have happened? Afghanistan, we would have left sooner, but we were going to leave with dignity and strength. Instead, we lost 13 great soldiers. I know their families. You know, Biden
Very
and
sad thing
Kamala
there.
never called the
Very
families,
sad.
not even one little phone call. I don't think they really wanted to hear from him in the end. But they wouldn't call. 13 great people were lost. Many people lost the legs, the arms, the face was just horrifically injured and obliterated in some cases. Nobody ever talks about them. I talk about them all the time because those people, I mean, they're going to suffer for the rest of their lives. It's so sad. What happened at Afghanistan, and because of that, by the way, Putin looked, he said, oh, the U.S. is a paper tiger. I guess I can finally go into Ukraine because it's the apple of his eye. Always was. He told me, no, I love it. I mean, he loved it, right? He loved it. He wanted it, but he would have never done it with me. Zero chance, zero chance. So sad, so sad. So many things have happened. You know what else wouldn't have happened to you? You would have had no inflation. I had no inflation. You wouldn't have had. Inflation was caused by their stupid energy policy that drove the energy through the roof. It's not so complicated. To bring back millions of jobs, we will give our companies the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burdens, and free access to the best and biggest market on the planet. And this mic is much heavier than the other one, I will tell you. I can do exercise. I can build up my muscle. But only for those who make their product here in the USA and hire American workers for the job. Right? Right? And if these companies don't make their products here in the USA, then they will be forced to pay a very stiff tariff when they send their products into the United States for the privilege of competing with our workers and taking our workers' jobs. And we will now have protected companies. These companies will not leave because they're going to be protected by tariffs because they can't be undercut. You know, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. Nobody talks about it. Those guys don't talk about anything. They only talk about bad. They only talk about fake news. But we took in hundreds of billions with a B, dollars from China. No other president took in 10 cents. Oh, you know, and I watched the other day, Mrs. Obama was nasty to me. What was that all about? What was that all about, Scott Walker? Nasty. Oh, look, it's Tommy Thompson. Holy mackerel. It's Tommy. Is that Tommy Thompson or am I? Stand up, Tommy. Stand up, Scott. What a couple of real pros, good guys. But Tommy, I got along with him great. You know, in 2016, I wanted to win Wisconsin so bad. He said it's not doable. He said, you are a very difficult state, but I won it. You know that. I did win it, despite your difficulty. I actually won it twice, but these are minor details. But which everyone knows is actually. But Tommy Thompson, and he's a longtime governor, a longtime pro, and I said, what do you think, Tommy? I have a big meeting, and it's hard. You know, you have all these states, you want to go to the states, and he said, sir, you're wasting your time if you come to Wisconsin. And he said, I don't feel that way, Tommy. I had like one of these deals, except with fewer people, to be honest. You know, we become more popular with time. But it was good. It was big. I said, I don't think so. He said, sir, I'm telling you, you're wasting your time. But here's what I'll do. I don't want you to go to Pennsylvania, go to Michigan, go to these places you have to win. Don't do it, sir. But here's what I'm going to do. I never forgot it. It was the weirdest thing. He said, sir, don't do it. But if I feel you can win it, or if I feel you're going to win it, if something happens over the next couple of months, I'll call you and you can do it then. I said, wow, that's a great idea. So 3 weeks go by and I get a phone call. They said, sir, there's a Governor Tommy Thompson on the phone. I said, who the hell is that? You know, you sort of forget. You sort of forget, right? You know, it's like you're focused on the. I said, well, it's like Tommy. So I said, hi, Tommy, how you doing? What's up? Sir, it's time for you to get in that little chopper and come right up to Wisconsin. You're going to win this sucker. He said, you're going to win it. And he was right, right? He was right. He was right. I got in that chopper. I was up here so fast they couldn't believe They couldn't believe you could travel that fast. No, and we won. We had a great victory. And I will say this, we're much more popular. This is a much bigger movement. You know, Make America Great Again, MAGA, it's the greatest movement by far in the history of our country. It's amazing. There's never been anything like it. And people don't even fight it anymore, really. They don't win, but it's the greatest movement. And when Biden was doing that thing with the purple background, you remember that? He looked like the devil, right? Remember that? Sebastian, have you gotten taller, Sebastian? What's going on with you? Sebastian, do you remember? Why are you standing? Do they not have a seat for you? He's giving me applause before we... He's a great guy. Does everybody listen to his show? He's been loyal. I'll tell you one thing. That guy was with me through thick and thin. Anything that came up, he said, the president is innocent. I said, oh, thank you, Sebastian. He would say, I don't know exactly what they're accusing him of. But
Brad, Ted, thanks for joining.
No, Sebastian's been great. He's been a very good, loyal friend, a really good friend and a really talented guy, smart. But we are now more popular. This is the weave, you know, a little weave, right? You know, they used to say, these are stupid people. They used to say, he rambled. I don't ramble. I do a weave. You know what a weave is? It's a story. And as you're telling the story, you realize that there's a little offshoot. Go up here. But the key is then you have to come back. And then you're doing the story. You're getting down to bottom line, and boom, you do another little weave. Then sometimes you do a weave off a weave. It's here and then back. It's called the weave. And one guy got it right, a writer. They said, Trump is a totally brilliant guy. He said, he's the most, I've never seen anything like, because you always have to end up in the right place, or then you're rambling, you know, then you're rambling. But no, I have a very fertile brain. But it's the weave, and we do it, and it covers a lot of territory. This way you tell one story, and you cover, really it's like 15 subplots, but you get down to the final answer. And actually, they're starting to say it. You know who said it? Do you know who said it? Rogan. Did anyone see that? What a nice guy. What a good guy. Because that's called long form. Joe Rogan, that's called long form. So you're with him and you're talking, and you don't have to rush your answer, cram it in, right? I like the way, by the way, 60 Minutes, see this part of the weave too. I like the way 60 Minutes, in order, because she doesn't do a weave. She doesn't know where the hell she is. She gave the worst answer I've ever heard to a question. One of the main questions, she was on 60 Minutes, Kamala was, you can't call her Harris, because nobody knows who Harris is, right? Have you seen Harris lately?
That's funny. It's something I struggle with.
Kamala. But on 60 Minutes, they did something that was amazing. I never thought, I think it's the worst scandal in the history of broadcast. I mean, I think it's the worst scandal. She gave an answer which showed that she was grossly incompetent. It was crazy. It was just like all words. They had no meaning, no effect. They took the entire answer. They said, yes, we adjusted it slightly, yeah. They took the entire answer out, threw it away, and they took an answer down here that had nothing to do with it and put it, which was still crappy, but...
I think this is interesting. If you haven't heard already, Trump is seeking damages against CBS for this.
At least you could make a case. So they took the answer out and they put in a new answer. And I said, that's terrible. It's part of the news division. They get free licensing. They're worth billions, by the way, but the government brilliantly gives it to them for nothing. And they're all crooked. ABC's crooked as hell. Look at this David Muir, the way he was asking stuff. This guy, pretty boy. And his hair.
He called him pretty boy.
Used to be, by the way. Used to be much better. But you know what? He was asking stuff. I said, what the hell is he asking? He said, crime went down. I said, only a fool would say crime went down. Crime didn't go down. It went. And then the following day, right, it came out. Crime was up 49%. It's terrible. But what
Key point on that, the FBI restated data going back a few years, actually through most of the Biden-Harris term, they restated their crime data. And wouldn't you know it, it actually showed that crime has gone up. What happened behind that, I haven't dug into it too deeply, but again, just makes you wonder. Just like the jobs report, just like the preemptive lowering of interest rates to start stimulating growth just before an election. A lot of these things, happening in sequence like this, it's hard to say it's not, intentionally being done just to help improve the election outlook for them.
60 Minutes did is unbelievable. They took the answer out, they replaced it with another answer. You got to see them trying to explain, Sebastian. They're trying to explain why they did that one. Did you ever?
Hang on, I'm going to ask my AI a question on this. Bear with me for a second. Just got to get it spun up again here. But I'm wondering what the definition is here for the election interference exactly. Looks like it logged me out for a sec for some reason. Hang on.
How's the human world treating you today?
Hey, can you give me a definition of election interference?
Covers a lot of ground, but basically, it's when someone tries to mess with an election's fairness or outcome. Could be spreading misinformation, hacking, or even direct threats to voters. Anything that screws with the democratic process. Could also be bad. What brought this up?
What are the actual laws regarding election interference on the books?
Well, in the U.S., there are tons of election laws at federal and state levels. Some of the big ones involve prohibiting vote tampering, intimidation, as well as bans on foreign interference. Violations can lead to serious consequences like fines or even jail time. Election interference is a serious crime. Where are you going with this, Masood?
I just want to understand the definition of it and what qualifies as actual interference, like some examples of it.
Sure thing. Examples of election interference could include hacking voting machines to alter results, spreading false information about how and where to vote, intimidating voters at polling stations, or foreign entities trying to sway public opinion through social media campaigns. It all boils down to actions that disrupt or unfairly influence the voting process. It's all about keeping things fair and free from undue influence. What's on your mind about it? At polling stations, or foreign entities trying to sway public opinion through social media campaigns. It all boils down to actions that disrupt or unfairly influence the voting process. It's all about keeping things fair and free from undue influence. What's on your mind about it?
I don't know why I'm getting a echo like that.
That's odd. Not sure why you'd be getting an echo. Maybe try adjusting your volume or moving to a quieter spot. If that doesn't help, maybe we can just roll with it. It's a good excuse for me to try speaking more clearly.
I'm getting a echo like that.
That's odd. Not sure why you'd be getting an echo.
All right, let's keep going with the Trump video.
Do that?
Sure.
Would you ever do
What
that?
else about
See,
election
he may do that for
interference
me,
are
but I
you
don't think
curious
so,
to
right?
know? Or we could.
If he did, he wouldn't be talking about it, that I can tell you. But he may. I don't want people to do that. You know what they do? They take mine. Mine is a beautiful, beautiful answer. But here's what they do. They cut out part of the weave, and then it doesn't sound so good anymore. But what 60 Minutes did, and CBS, I think the license should be taken away from CBS. And I think that 60 Minutes should be forced to either close or take a very extended stay. And I'll tell you what, if a conservative broadcaster ever did what they did, it would be the end of their lives. Everybody would be in jail. Everybody would be in jail. What they did. And so in honor of you, we sued them yesterday for a lot of money.
Yeah, there you go.
We sued them. And I sued them, and we call it election interference fraud. It's it's a fraud. And I don't think there's any real way, I don't believe there's any way they can even answer it. You want to know the truth? But as we rescue our economy, I will restore our borders, because I think that's your biggest problem. I do. They're destroying our country. They're putting dangerous people. Look at these beautiful people. You'll be interspersed with murderers, drug dealers, terrorists. Do we have any in the House right now? Are there any people? Over the past 4 years, Kamala has orchestrated the most egregious betrayal that any leader in American history has ever inflicted on our people. She's violated her oath, eradicated our sovereign border, and unleashed an army of gangs and criminal migrants from prisons and jails, insane asylums and mental institutions all around the world, from the Congo in Africa to Venezuela. You know, Venezuelan crime is down like 72%, right? Because they put their criminals into the United States of America. Thank you. Thank you. Our stupid leaders. And they're stealing countless American lives. You'll see that in a couple of minutes. It's horrible what's going on. It's a terrible situation. Today I want to hear directly from a mother whose world has been absolutely shattered. This is a young, beautiful mother who I met at one of the rallies, and we said, "You mind if we do this?" She was so dead. I had some of the toughest people I've ever seen with me. They were all crying when they saw this. Wait till you see this, please.
Sunday night, I asked her to not stay up super late because of her coming to work with me in the morning first to do her summer school. She said, okay. I told her good night and I love you. I went to bed, not realizing that that was going to be the last time I saw her.
We're best friends. Yeah. We're going to shake it again.
I woke up to notice she wasn't in her bed. I'm in my heart trying not to lose my mind because I don't know where she is. I finally remembered her phone had a location on, and her phone was pinging just 2 minutes down the road, right behind the skate park. I start driving to the direction the phone was being pinged at, and I see a couple cop cars with lights on. I see yellow tape, and immediately my heart drops and sinks to the bottom of my stomach. My daughter's hands and ankles were both bound. She was strangled to death, left with no pants. And I know in my heart, she fought incredibly hard. She was not going down without a fight.
We begin with two men we're learning are charged with capital murder tonight, accused of killing a 12-year-old girl.
Police say these men strangled her before dumping her into that creek. Both men were in the country illegally.
Apprehended, then released by Border Patrol less than 3 weeks before Jocelyn's death. The men accused of killing Jocelyn Nungare are affiliated with the gang known for brutal violence.
Kamala Harris was in charge of immigration in our borders. If we had better border policies and not open borders and not these catch and release policies, I truly believe this all could have been prevented. Under her being vice president of this country, my daughter's life was ripped away from her. She had her entire life.
And this did happen in Houston, Texas, and the city was outraged. A lot of people were just floored by this happening here. And unfortunately, it's a story that we continue to hear, or we continue to find because it's not being reported widely, except locally where it happens or in pockets on the national news networks. So I think things like this, real world examples of problems that you want to fix, they really hit home for folks far more than the 20 minutes that Harris just decided to go on a rant for, being critical of Trump, not really offering anything, not really saying I'm going to take action on and, fill in the blank with an issue that is facing the country or the world at this moment.
I've had her.
Happy birthday, dear Jocelyn.
My daughter is 6 feet in the ground based off of policies that she allowed to keep. Kamala Harris did have one job, and she not only failed, not me, she failed my daughter, she failed Jocelyn. She was only 12. President Trump reached out, gave me his sincerest condolences as not a former president, but just as a father, someone who cares. I believe Donald Trump needs to be back in office. I can at least know that my next child will be safe in this country.
This is what we're letting into our country. This is what we're letting in. And you could take that scene and multiply it times thousands, whether it's on highways, whether it's just shootings, plane shootings. These are rough people, rough people. And we can't take it. And it's the worst thing that's happening to our country. I think it's the worst thing that's happened to our country in decades. Nobody's ever even imagined a thing where other countries will take their prisons and open them and drop everybody, thousands of their prisoners. You know what they saved by doing that? And I know most of the heads of these countries. It's like they can't believe they got away with it. And as soon as I heard we were going to have open borders, I said, I know immediately that that's what's going to be done. They're opening their jails and their prisons and their mental institutions, and they're becoming empty. Some are already empty. But all over the world, all over the world. This isn't just in South America. It's not just Guatemala, Mexico, Honduras. You think in terms of a little close. These are all over the world. Big in the Congo, big. They're sending them over big, tough. They're tough, and they're mean, The day I take the oath of office, the migrant invasion ends and the restoration of our country begins. The savages charged with brutalizing and murdering Precious, Jocelyn, are members of the same vicious Venezuelan prison gang, Tren de Aragua, that's taking over apartment complexes and unleashing violent killing sprees all over America. All over America. Think of it. They're in Colorado. I think Colorado's going to vote for Trump. You know what they did? They were the ones that led the thing to get me up. I was the leading candidate of both parties, leading the Republicans and leading the Democrats 1-to-1. I was the leading candidate. And then they talk about a threat to democracy. And that governor, a radical left lunatic who's petrified of the gangs that are taking over his state, this guy went and told his people to try and get me off the ballot. Can you imagine that? That would have been a fine mess. That would have been a fine mess for the country, wouldn't it? And went to the Supreme Court of the United States, won 9-0, because even the justices that were liberally inclined, they said, we can't do that. You got to beat them at the ballot box. It was very heartwarming to see it as a 9-0. But this governor in Colorado did it. And you know who hated him the most? Are the Democrats in Colorado. They thought it was terrible. The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. Liberation Day. And on day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. I will rescue every city and town that has been invaded and conquered. These towns have been conquered. Think of what that means. Conquered. And we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail or kick them the hell out of our country immediately. And to expedite removals of Tren de Aragua criminals and MS-13 criminals, which are just about as bad. We took out thousands of MS-13s. You know, they loved Long Island. Isn't that nice? You know, two beautiful girls, 16 years old, were walking to school one day, and MS-13 attacked the two girls, and they sliced them up with knives. They didn't want to shoot them because that's too quick and not painful enough. They took, and they killed both girls. And it's lucky that we have ICE around because ICE was extremely good. They were extremely good. And this fool that we have running for president without having gotten one single vote to his 14 million votes, this fool wanted to defund ICE. We want to defund ICE. If you defunded ICE, you had nobody that's tough enough to go in there and get these animals out of our country. She wanted to defund ICE. I will invoke and this is incredible because we had to go back so far. I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. That's when they ran a tough country. To target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. And I am hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. And I will immediately ban all sanctuary cities in the United States of America. We will have them no longer. And despite all the damage she has caused, Kamala has spent the final week of her campaign comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. You know that, right? All of us. You, me. 2 days ago, Joe Biden called our supporters garbage. He called them garbage. That's worse than deplorables, isn't it? Remember Hillary? How did that work out with deplorables? Well, garbage is working out even worse for him. They called you, all of us, garbage. We're garbage. And I believe we have 250 million people. I believe we have most of the country is about making America great again. And my response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. You just can't do it. Doesn't work. And you can't be president if you hate the American people. And I actually think they hate the American people. She's not a good person. You know, her help, 95% of her help left. You know, when she was in the DA's office in California, she made everybody stand at attention when she walked in. Good morning, madam. Good morning, they were told to say. Good morning, Madam District Attorney. Stand up at attention. She's not a good person.
All right, I'm going to have to close down the stream. Getting a little bit too tired. But more to come. Let's see if there's any last-minute surprises that the candidates pull out. I hope something pops up. Looking forward to it. All right. Thanks for listening.